Hey guys, welcome to another online tutorial from Punchbowl Boys High School. My name is Elmasri and I am a TAS teacher down at PBHS. So today I'll be doing an online tutorial on how to use Google SketchUp online. I suggest that we use Google Chrome. If you were to open up the page and type in Google SketchUp online, you get to see the first link, so I suggest you open it up and it would say sketchup.com plans and pricing SketchUp free. Once you have opened up the page, you'll notice that it will say SketchUp on the left hand side. You've got a blue button on the bottom left hand side that will say start modeling. I suggest you click on start modeling, and then you will notice on the page it will say sign in with your email address, or at the bottom it will say sign in with Google. It's better off you sign in with Google as we have an account with the school. As you can see, there's already a couple of different logins already. You'll see my name there, but for yourself, you would use your student name and last name at education.newsouthwales.gov.au. I'm just going to click on my name. Once the page is loaded up, you'll see at the top hand side where it says home, you'll have the create new. Now it's best to choose simple template feet and inches, but you can use millimeters and meters, but we generally use feet and inches at school. So when you open that up, you will notice that there is a person standing there. On the left hand side, you've got some tools, and on the right hand side, you have some tools as well. If you were to scroll down at the very bottom, you'll notice that there's a little circle, and when you hover over it, it says orbit. Now, when you click on orbit, you'll notice that there's also other different options that you can go with. The two that you generally use, or the three, would be the zoom in, zoom out. You've got the pan, which is the hand. So when you click on pan, it allows you to move up, down, left, and right. And then the actual orbit tool, which is a 360 degrees, two arrows combined together. When you click on the orbit tool, you're then able to move around in 360 degrees, left and right, up and down. If you also were to have a look on the left hand side, you would notice there's a rectangle. If you click on that, you've got other shapes such as a circle, you've got the rectangle, polygon, and then you can also do a 3D text. So I'm going to be using the rectangle. Now, when you look at the actual screen itself, you see that the pencil's on the floor, and then you can actually left click on it, and then you can drag it out to make the rectangle. Now, also you'll notice back on the toolbar on the left hand side, there is a little rectangle with an arrow pointing up. That is the push and pull. Now when you click on it, you can select the push and pull function, and then you can hover over your rectangle. Now when you click on it, you will notice that you can actually push down and you can actually pull it up. So what we're going to do is we're going to pull it up. With your mouse, you can then use the scroll button to zoom in and out. And then generally when I use this, I like to just try to get it centered out using the pan and orbit tool. Now, this is one of these software where you get to sort of play around with it, take your time, because you can do so many things on there. For instance, if I want to grab the actual line, the pencil, I want to draw down the middle, and automatically you will notice that you'll see on the edge it's red, and then once it's lined up in the midpoint, it goes to green, which means you're in the middle. I can then line it up to the other midpoint. If I wanted to now divide the actual rectangle into two, or elevate one side of it or one section, I'll then also do another push and pull, and then you'll be able to sort of drop it down. Okay, so the same thing, you can almost do any sort of shape that you want, push and pull, and you'll be able to just play around with normal shapes. Now, if I was to go back to the rectangle area and grab the actual circle, I can then make a circle on the actual face, and then you'll be able to push it in or push it out. What I suggest you do as well is you can see that there's a tool called an offset tool. So if I was to go back to where I've got my shapes, down underneath it, you've got the push and pull. One of the actual functions is called an offset tool. Now what that does is it actually gets you the shape and redoes the same shape within itself. So for instance, you see the rectangle, I've got the offset tool now at the moment. I will then left click on it, and then as you can see, it will then make the same shape within itself. So let's just look at this shape, which is oddly shaped as well. If I was to do an offset tool as well, you can then see that it does the same shape. So now if I wanted to push and pull, you'll be able to notice that you can now push in the shape there. I can then push out the shape there. And if I wanted to have a zoom around, you will notice some of the different things that you can do. So if I wanted to do another offset tool, or another offset to this rectangle, drop it down, you will now notice that you'll be able to make whatever you want in terms of furniture, in terms of designing houses, floor plans, whatever you need for your major project. So let's just look around and then think to ourselves, we've got a wall. On the right hand side, you will notice that there's some more toolbars, and you'll notice that there's 3 cubes on top of each other. It's the components part. Underneath the components part, you should be able to click the square underneath it, and you should see materials. Now with the materials, you'll notice there's a browse button. If you click on the browse, you get to see, it's what we used to call in the old Google SketchUp the paint bucket. You can actually start adding in colors. So let's just choose a color, for instance. I want one of the walls to be red. I want it to be orange. And then I want it to be yellow as well. Then what I needed to do is I decide that maybe, for instance, I want a bit of stone. I can click on stone. If I wanted to do a water feature like a swimming pool, there's your water feature there. And then, for instance, I want timber. If you're making your major work or some of your projects with timber, I can then select the types of timber that I want to do. You've also got the options of doing glass and making things translucent. So for instance, if I wanted this wall, you can actually then see through it. You will notice that if I was to zoom in, you can actually get to see how the function works. So what I'm going to do is show you another quick step on how to do a floor plan, just so you can familiarize yourself with this. And the limits are you can do so many things with this. Let's just start off with a rectangle. And if you were to select or click R, it actually comes up with the rectangle automatically. So let's just do a rectangle quickly. And then if I want to click P, the letter P, it should automatically do push and pull for you as well. That's just a little trick. And then you can see that it automatically does that. So what I'm going to do is I'll start off with an offset tool. So you'll notice that with SketchUp, you want to create a wall for your floor plan. So you've got the rectangle, which is the house shape, and then you want to offset it. So this could be the actual wall for the building. So if I wanted to push and pull, you'll notice that the walls now are raised up. So there you've got the walls for your house. Now, if I wanted to think about what layout, so when I get the students in the classroom, I just say, what layout have you got in terms of the rooms for the house, the cinema, or so forth. So for instance, you get to see that I'm just designing a certain part of the bedrooms, kitchen, a couple of corridors. This could be like a laundry area. And so this is just a very basic, simple design, just so the students can work on it quickly. So now when you want to push and pull, you will notice that you can then elevate this, and then you can then elevate certain parts. Now, if you notice some of the rooms look thicker than others, what you can do is you then start push and pull some of the walls to where you want it to be, and then you can actually make them a lot wider than what it needs to be. If I wanted to then do a divider, for instance, I'll grab the pencil, I can then do 2 lines, for instance, and then you'll notice that you're actually then able to drop it down to the way you want. A lot of students want to know how to do a door. So what you need to do is you can then zoom in to where you need to be. Do an actual rectangle of where the door needs to be. Now with the push and pull function, if you were to push it all the way through, once it says on face, you'll notice that it should disappear, and then you have a look that there is now no more wall, so there's an actual door. So you can then start playing around with it. I mean, there's so many things you can do with Google SketchUp online. A lot of the boys have actually learned some of this in the classrooms, but you can do so many things. You can design a house, pieces of furniture, even a car. Google SketchUp actually uses this for Google Maps. Check it out. I hope you enjoyed this video. It's just a quick little demonstration on what to do. And all the best. Subscribe to our page down at Facebook. Come have a look at our website, and you'll notice what we can do.